recruiting and the normal processes, because, like I say, it's odd that we did better in the Big Ten than we were supposed to do, but fell flat against that team that probably was underseeded. Certainly Oregon was a better team, but certainly I think that's what happens. When you get successful and you start to get the program rolling and things are doing well, and then all of a sudden it goes off the rails a little bit, it's bound to happen. If there's a generation of people that aren't really used to seeing this kind of thing happen and are very impatient.
Hi, this is Dr. Adam Forster at Columbus Family Dental. If you've been unhappy with your smile, it's time that you come and see us. Our team of doctors are waiting to help you get your smile back. We'll take the time to talk with you and treat you like a member of our family, not just another number. Whether it's a whole mouth makeover or simply a little tweak, we'll find the right solution that fits you. For your free, no-pressure consultation, call us today at 623-5559.
For an NCAA tournament schedule preview. Coming up today, two more number ones in action from Washington, D.C. and Kansas City. Action begins with the East region of the nation's capital as the 2-seed Michigan State takes on 3rd-seeded LSU. Also in D.C., the East 1-seed Duke meets 4th-seeded Virginia Tech. And from Kansas City, the Midwest 1-seed North Carolina will be in action against the 5-seed Auburn, followed by the 2-seed Kentucky taking on the 3-seed Houston. You can hear Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NCAA tournament right here.
Now at the Home Depot, save up to 35% off appliance special buys. Like the Samsung stainless steel side-by-side refrigerator, just $9.98. You save $300. It's big enough to hold 25 bags of groceries. Unload those, and if that makes you'll really love the external ice maker and water display. Savings now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only while supplies last. See store for details, valid through April 17th.
This news update on Wisconsin Radio Network. I'm Bob Haig. The orange barrels are out with road construction back underway in Wisconsin. DOT spokesman Rob Miller says it's a good reminder to keep everyone safe.
People just need to keep their heads up and stay focused on what's ahead of them at all times, but it's especially important in work zone.
Governor Tony Evers is returning a number of Scott Walker appointees to state boards and committees after originally pulling them last week, but not everyone is back at work. That includes 2 members of the UW Board of Regents, as well as Public Service Commission Chair Ellen Nowak. Evers says he won't be changing his mind. Wisconsin Lottery spokeswoman Cindy Polzine says this week's big Powerball winner has until September 24th to begin the process of claiming the prize.
If they want to talk to family or financial advisor.
The $768 million Powerball ticket sold in New Berlin. Wisconsin Radio Network.
For Wisconsin, there's a lot on the line on Tuesday, April 2nd. Should our Supreme Court uphold the rule of law? Or should our courts be political and do the bidding of special interests? Judge Brian Hagedorn's a political insider. Hagedorn lobbied for a new law shielding nursing homes accused of abuse and neglect, even in cases of wrongful death. And though thousands of kids are poisoned each year by lead paint, Judge Brian Hagedorn pushed to change the law to let those corporations responsible off the hook. Fortunately, there's a better choice. Judge Lisa Neubauer. She's impartial, fair, and independent. Lisa Neubauer is endorsed by Republicans and Democrats. Over 300 judges, prosecutors, and sheriffs. On Tuesday, April 2nd, the future of Wisconsin courts is on the line. Vote Judge Lisa Neubauer for Supreme Court. Paid for by Greater Wisconsin Political Fund. Not authorized by any candidate, candidate's agent, or committee.
Tune in for Dr. Manish Sharda for an informational talk show presented by Agnesian Healthcare this Tuesday at 11:10 a.m. on WBEV. The topic this month is all about preventative health, including topics such as flu shots, vaccinations, and more. Dr. Sharda can answer any questions that you have, so please feel free to call 885-4446. You don't want to miss it. That's Tuesday at 11:10 a.m. on WBEV with Dr. Manish Sharda from Agnesian Healthcare.
You're driving. You're lost. You're not sure which exit to take. A voice inside your head urges you to take out your phone and open the Maps app. You resist, but then the voice takes over and becomes the distractor.
Hey, pal, you look a little lost. What the? You know your smartphone has GPS, don't you?
Yeah, but I'm driving right now.
Hey, dude. Yoo-hoo! I'm over here.
I'm keeping my eyes on the road.
Why don't you text your sister to see if she's texting? I know. I'll help. I've got a map.
First, I'm safely pulling over. Second, I am done with this distraction.
Not my portable hairdryer. No!
Focus on driving, not the distractor. Visit witrafficsafety.org/distracted driving for more information.
Phone, find me a new driver.
Get lost.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
Chad at Air Care in Beaver Dam says he's got an air conditioner for your home that sips electricity. You may have heard the commercials about the Carrier furnace that sips gas and saves you money. The electricity sipping Carrier air conditioner, along with the gas sipping furnace, will save you money during the warm weather. It works together with a thermostat that communicates with the air conditioner and the blower on your furnace, telling them exactly when to sip the least amount of energy needed to keep you comfortable. Think of the thermostat like the conductor of a symphony orchestra. But rather than a beautiful symphony, you're getting an incredible level of home comfort, quietness, and dehumidification. There's even a smartphone app that allows you to be the conductor of the orchestra right from your phone. Turn to the experts Air Care and Carrier. Find them at aircareinc.com or call Chad at Air Care in Beaver Dam at 920-356-8860. Financing available.
1239 from AM 1430 WBEV, streaming online at dailydodge.com. It is time now for today's community comment. Here is your host, Craig Warmbold.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome to the community comment program today on AM 1430 WBEV and streaming live in video at dailydodge.com. If you've got an internet connection and you're listening to us on the radio, feel free to dial us up on the internet, and you'll be well. Don't use dial-up. If you have dial-up, it's not going to work. But feel free to punch us up on dailydodge.com. Under the video tab, you'll be able to watch today's program. Our guest, as it is the final Friday of the month, we'd like to welcome on the mayor of the city of Beaver Dam to talk about city politics. Mayor Becky Glewen joining us today. Thank you very much for having us, for being here.
Well, thank you, Craig. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Very good. The phone number, if you've got a question, is 920-885-4446. And we probably need phone calls because there's a lot going on, but I didn't really put anything on my sheet.
I know.
I don't think you put anything because once we start talking about something or a call comes, time gets away from us.
Right. We hope someone does call in today, but
so feel free to call 920-885-4446.
We've got a lot of the same things that we're working on, but continuing to move and progress through things. So I it's helpful sometimes to just give updates. I think, and that's kind of where I think we're at today is kind of giving some updates.
Speaking of updates, are we starting? No? Okay. Again, 920-885-4446. A good place to start, I think, would be the agenda comes out for Monday's City Council meeting right around now, and I was looking over it, and there's a update on there, it looks like, on Skunk Island. What's going on there. What can we expect to hear at that update?
Well, I'd like to kind of back up just a little bit. That was one thing I had thought about that we could kind of discuss. So I think it was last week. I lose track of my time here. It might have been this week, but anyway, I attended the one day of the governor's tourism conference. It was in Wisconsin Dells, and so they were talking a lot about again, not only just tourism to our state, but also attracting individuals to our state. We do a really good job of individuals that grow up here, stay here in Wisconsin, but we don't have people migrate into our state. So we do a very poor job of that. So one of the issues is that our we're not replacing ourselves as far as birth rates. We're not bringing people in. So we have this continued loss, really, of people. And so looking at how to bring people here. So I'm at the tourism conference, and a big segment of that was talking about recreational tourism and how Colorado has done a fantastic job with marketing themselves as being such a great recreational opportunity place as far as a state, and Oregon has as well. They put a lot of money into marketing and tourism, but So the state of Wisconsin is looking at what others have done out in the West, and there's a few states in the East that have also done this. Nobody has really focused on it in the Midwest. And so I think that's part of the initiatives here of this new tourism is to look more at and be able to figure out how we already know about all these great things happening here, but how do we also share that with others as far as our outdoor opportunities. So people are really looking for those opportunities to connect and be out in nature and enjoy the outdoors. And so we're very blessed with the marsh right in our backyard, as well as our lake and river, and Skunk Island is part of that. So this whole big broader conversation kind of goes to the piece where, in the past that had been open for many, many years. Mostly the individuals that enjoyed that property were hunters that could go out there for duck hunting. It was closed about 5 years ago to everyone, no trespassing, and so that group especially is interested in having that reopened. But also there's a lot of individuals, again, that want this recreational opportunity, that are thinking this would be a really nice stopping point just to have for opportunities outside and such. So anyway, that's kind of the vision of the Development Corps, is to find out how to make this public. But then you have the things in life that make some of those challenges, as far as who maintains it, and then also the liability issues, of course, are always big right now, and trying to figure out liability pieces. So part of that conversation was how could you get the most coverage and keeping people safe and keeping people protected from lawsuit. And the city has what's called recreational immunity. I think we've talked about that before. But that is, one of the main reasons why the Development Corps had said, okay, we'll move, offer this to the city, because they have recreational opportunity. So we'll do an update on Monday night talking about that was brought to the city, to the operations committee, and then to the council as a whole. But it really was determined then that council would feel more comfortable with having a plan in place, rather than just saying we're going to take the island and figure it out. They kind of want to have a plan for how that could be used. And so we've kind of had a couple of meetings talking about some possibilities, so that'll be shared on Monday night with council, basically looking at how do you how do you make it public with the maintenance piece. So that was a consideration in trying to figure out the best way to maintain it, the easiest way, without having anyone to have to put a lot of effort into it. With the conservancy piece of keeping it natural, we want it to be natural and for people to enjoy the outdoors. Also to help the lake as being a filter. Remember, we're trying to clean the lake and make sure that it's the best lake possible. And so all of those things are kind of coming into play when talking about a plan. So the chair is John Mosier. He's done a fantastic job of leading that and sitting down then and having some good discussion with Bill Foley, who is real involved in the Lake Improvement Association, as well as Attorney Schacht and myself. And yeah, so, and then some, phone calls to DNR, conservancy groups, talking to them and getting some feedback from them and giving us some ideas. So
you're going to lay out a couple different options then on Monday?
Basically, there'll be one option to council saying, this is a plan that was we put into place, or we just kind of researched and came up with with a lot of research and talking with individuals, and then council, what do you think? Would you want to see changes? Where would you want to see changes? And if they're good with it, then it'll have to go back to the Lake Development Corporation, and they'll have to say, yeah, we agree with it. Their charge was really just to say to the city, here's the property, or we'd be willing to sell the property, and so
which is already city owned, technically.
There is that piece. I know we keep on kind of going back to that. It's the quasi group that's really set up by the city. But yeah, so anyway, that we'll kind of have that discussion again, and then again, like I said, if they're in agreement, we go back to the Lake Development Corporation and make sure that they're good with the plan.
Okay, and so just to recap, the plan then is to, and that does not mean we have a phone call, we just have a visitor here at the station, excuse us for that. The plan would be to kind of, it sounds like an amalgamation of part conservancy district, part opening it up to the public, but doing minimal maintenance on it, and whilst at the same time keeping liability in mind. Do I have that kind of basically down?
Correct. And a conservancy just means you're preserving it. It doesn't mean that people can't go on it. But that's one thing we're looking at. And I would just say, the long-term vision is to say we do feel it's important for people to get connected with nature and to have these opportunities, and we do think it's good for overall tourism, which is a huge generator of economic development. More and more people are realizing, states are realizing, governments are realizing what an economic driver that is. And so anyway, the piece of also protecting that property for the next generations, and that they have the same opportunities. So we want to make sure that what we're doing now is going to put it in its best form for our kids and grandkids and the next people coming. So
920-885-4446 is the phone number if you've got a question for Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Glewen. 885-4446. We're going to go to the phones and say good afternoon. Welcome to Community Comment. Hi, you're on the air. 1430 WBEV with the mayor and myself.
And Craig.
Here we are. 920-885-4446. Well, while we get those technical issues worked out, the sticking point for a lot of people seems to be like, well, we're going to take this island and then it's going to cost us a bunch of money for the maintenance component again. What do you envision as the appropriate amount of dollars to be directing toward an island like this, the appropriate amount of manpower from our Parks Department? What should we be spending on this?
Well, to first talk about the cost piece, the city already brings in 50 cents per person per year for a city tax to support the work on the lake. So for the Lake Development Corporation, those funds go to the Lake Development Corporation. So about $8,000 a year. Now, the primary purpose of those funds is for aeration of the lake, and that's always our primary goal. Oftentimes, though, we do not need to use the aerators. There are years when we don't have to. So then some of those funds begin to build, and but that's a good thing. We need those funds because, like now, we're talking about, well, they need to replace aerators, and so that's a cost that's going to have to be there. The costs, as far as again, having a conservancy is really meant to keep it in a natural state. So as far as there wouldn't really be improvements other than a picnic table, garbage can. We are talking about, replacing, getting rid of grass instead and putting it back to its natural state, and natural grasses and things that would be appropriate for that, and would be a better filter again for our lake. Those are recommendations that we make all the time for property owners, so it would make sense to do it out there. The only other thing would be a dock, if that is something that would be of interest. But again, there's some funds available. There's funds that the Lake Improvement Association sometimes has access to, as well as grant opportunities that are available at times too. So. There's not going to be a huge cost as far as those types of projects, but also that there are funds that are set aside to care for that should be of use. As far as the maintenance piece, the city staff, and that's one thing I've said from the beginning, is that city staff will not be in charge of taking care of that, and so that's where the necessity comes into place that we don't open it unless we have an organization that wants to work with us, a group of individuals. And so we have the Lake Improvement Association, where a couple of individuals have already, have expressed that they would help with some of this transition back to some of the native plants that should be there. But also we have a new group started that's the Friends of the Parks group. Some interest there from individuals as well. That group had started the Adopt a Park program last year. It hasn't really, that group itself hasn't really advertised to try to, get new people yet onto that committee, but that could be something that they would focus on in the future.
920-885-4446, the phone number, if you've got a question for Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Glewen. And we'll go back to the phone, see if we sorted those problems out, and say good afternoon. Welcome to Community Comment.
Good afternoon. Are you there, Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, we're here.
All right. Hey, I've talked to you in the past on the same show, and thank you for being there again. And you do such a great job of representing Beaver Dam. And I'll be honest, I do live in an outlying area, but obviously Beaver Dam is, of major importance to some of the smaller communities as well. So I have a couple different questions. The first one, and I'll try not to make this long at all. I think it's a great job, and I've talked to a lot of people as well that think it's awesome that the Holiday Inn Express is going up there, and, it's going to really add to the community. Do you think you can use that to enhance maybe some lake events or the county fair at all?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, just thanks again for calling in. We appreciate it. It helps Craig and I, and it's nice to be able to talk to someone about it, and I appreciate your positive comments. Thank you very much for that as well.
Well, I'll make it tougher on the next question.
Okay. Well, maybe I shouldn't have said thanks quite yet.
Right, well, that won't be that
No,
bad.
but the Holiday Inn Express is that is very exciting. We're extremely happy that they've decided to put up there. There's absolutely a lot of opportunities for us to grow as far as, first of all, we are the capacity that we have right now is full at our hotels, and so we're excited to add extra. But that's a lot of things that we're talking about with organizations is talking about maybe not taking on new events and new types of things always, but really figuring out how to make what we do better, and how to create those events that we have right now, like Lake Days, into those multiple day events that are impactful, that people want to come for and would stay overnight for. And another big piece on that, just besides events, I think is one thing that I've talked about a lot earlier, was to talk about sports tourism, and how the central location of Beaver Dam is just, it's really something that we've done a lot of focusing on and trying to figure out how we can build on that because of our central location to Madison, Milwaukee, and Green Bay, Fox Valley. And 80% of people live in our region, in this area of Wisconsin.
Don't even think like northern Illinois. The reason I ask is like Lake Geneva has a huge draw in northern Illinois, and wouldn't it be great to bring in some of their money?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Right.
And is there any, do we have any ability to advertise down there, or, just make it more, accessible to those folks?
And do we have something for them to come here for? This
Right.
isn't really a tourism community.
Well, it's not, but is it because it's not a tourism community because we haven't built it that way? And so they're all conversations and meetings and things that are happening right now where we are, and I just talked to Craig about that recreational tourism piece that we're talking about. Our lake is a fantastic fishing lake. They've done a really nice job of getting that lake up to par and improving it, and their continued desire to improve it. We have a river that is really fun. Last year we just did some trial runs on that river. Now it's dam controlled, so we have to have enough water for that. But we're looking at working with an engineering company that just kind of focuses on river access to talk to them about, when water levels are lower, how can we divert water a little bit more to make a run through the city. It's really very fun. We've gotten really high ratings from kayaking groups that have come out to get on the river. So we just want to make sure, like, what opportunities, and we have to have the right water levels. You can't go when it's too high.
That would be great to hear more about that in the future. People that like canoeing and kayaking, I think that'd be great. But I just want to get to, I don't want to take up all your time. So a quick comment, and then my last question. Quick comment is, I really appreciate what you've said in the past about kind of restructuring the body of the government in Beaver Dam to make it, more effective, going forward. And how are those plans going? Because, no offense, but listening to some of the comments made last week in their debate, it may not be, I understand they're concerned community members, but may not be the most well-advised board I've ever heard of. And then, so that's a comment, and you can comment on that if you want. But my last question would be, how can you take the, one homicide in 28 years,
right?
No big deal, but obviously it made huge news.
Yeah.
And it was something that could not be prevented. And I mean, horrible, horrible situation. But really, what a safe town Beaver Dam is. And do you have the ability to work with media in, let's say, Madison and Milwaukee to say, okay, 1 in 28, that would be like saying Milwaukee has a population of 100 million, compared to what their rate is.
Per capita.
What is your opportunity to work with the media of the bigger towns?
Sure.
I'm going to hang up and listen. Mayor, thank you again for being there.
Oh, you bet. Thank you. I appreciate your phone call.
Thank you.
Before I touch on these two things, I just want to go back to kind of your comments or questions about making sure that our hotel is successful, making sure businesses are successful here in town. And so we are trying to think about all of those opportunities for tourism and how we can help our businesses, and that's critical right now. We have local people that are putting up a lot of money and taking the chance in investing here. We want to make sure that they're successful because they're people I know, they're friends of ours, and so we want to make sure they're successful. One thing I will say that you had asked about, do we have money to reach out to kind of the Illinois area? We do have some marketing dollars. So right now, we've been working on our website redevelopment, and I've hesitated on putting any type of marketing piece out right now until we have that website redone, because I think that's often the very first face of our community that people see as more and more people access that. So I want to make sure that we have a new, fresh face before we drive people to that place. So we're waiting on that. That should be coming out in March. And so we'll then start with, we have a video of the community that we worked with Jesse Wilson, and he has done a fantastic job of pulling some really cool footage from around town to put a nice little piece together that we can push out on social media and put on our website so that people can see a little bit more about us. And then we do have a little bit of a marketing budget. I'm actually working to, we have a meeting next, or in a couple of weeks that I've worked to set up with what was formerly the Madison Convention Bureau. So they're now Destination Madison, and they work with all of, with Verona, Middleton, and those communities to promote those communities close by. And so we're trying also, or at least I'm saying, Beaver Dam should be a part of that Madison region, which we already are economically. We are with them as far as our economic development. And so now
part of an economic development group that
correct.
Encompasses like 8 counties, I believe. I forget the name of it.
Yep, MAD
sure.
Rep. Mm-hmm.
MAD Rep. Right.
Yep. So we're a part of that already. Now we need to make ourselves known in the Madison area when people are visiting Madison. Hey, look again, the marsh and the bike trail, the Goose Trail, and now the 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 Gold Star Trail, and our lake and river, and those things we need to keep building, and then sports tourism if we're doing those things. So, do you want me to address the other questions? Or did
he did ask about the murder in this and what that means in this city.
Well, it's I had the same feeling when that happened, as far as we got into it we were getting a lot of Madison coverage, and kudos to us I feel like we're starting to, there are some stories that are being picked up in that Madison region, which is great, which is what we want. But I found that, I did find that a little bit ironic as well, in there was a huge story. And you're right, it was the first one in over 28 years. And so that message, we were named just past year as the 16th safest city in the nation to raise a child. And it's about perception, so it really is. We'll push that out as much as we can in trying to get that information out. As far as media, I'm not sure. I guess you have to report the story, Craig. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. As far as, how do you?
Well, and I hope this answers the caller's question. We are part of a radio network, the Wisconsin Radio Network, and so information that we have, we would share with the affiliates that are part of that radio network, and that's a statewide network. That's not just in Milwaukee and Madison, but radio stations in Green Bay and Eau Claire and Hayward are part of that network. And of course, WBEV recently began an affiliation with WTMJ, and it's not surprising to maybe hear a little bit more coverage from this area on some of their airwaves, and that's maybe something that you could see going forward. I think the caller really is trying to get at, though, the idea of getting kind of a positive image out there, and that may not be a news thing. That may be more of a marketing thing,
right?
As far as 16th safest city and everything like that, and that comes back down to marketing dollars, and we're really not marketing the city, are we?
Right. We do not have, well, I say we have some marketing funds. We do not have a lot of marketing funds for the community. So we have the room tax dollars, hotel tax dollars. When you stay at a hotel, sometimes cities then have this room tax that they collect. And we do that. But a number of years ago, the city decided to use those funds to pay for an economic development corporation that was another entity. Now, since that, and so that happened, all those funds went to pay for our economic development.
And they brought a lot of things here.
Absolutely.
They brought the Walmart distribution center and filled up our business parks and everything.
Right, absolutely. And so now, Governor Walker did change that a few years ago, saying, okay, those dollars need to go towards tourism, and so every year, like a certain percentage has to come off from that. So, but it's still a very small amount that goes to marketing, and you have to pay for it one way or the other, right? You have to pay for economic development, or you have to pay for marketing. But the council has provided a little bit of a balance, I guess, for marketing, additional dollars for that. So that's been good.
920-885-4446 is the number. I know we had a caller on the line. We do have to take a break, though, first here, and we'd be happy to get back to your calls after the break. Our guest, Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Glewen. We're here on AM 1430 WBEV, Beaver Dam, a Good Karma broadcasting station. Check us out at dailydodge.com, where we are video streaming. Back in a few minutes.
Why do patients choose Columbus Community Hospital's Prairie Ridge Center for Orthopedic Excellence for joint replacement surgery? Improved quality of life. 96% of Prairie Ridge joint replacement patients report mild to no pain when walking. The national average is 89%. 88% of Prairie Ridge joint replacement patients go directly home. The national average is 66%. Columbus Community Hospital and Prairie Ridge Health Clinic offers a 5-star, top-performing, high-quality program that will help you reclaim your life.
Now also serving in Marshall.
Countryside GM Auto Group. We make it easy.
Get your best price first. It's clearly marked on every windshield at Countryside Auto Group in Beaver Dam. Take advantage of the end of the month sale that ends at closing time this Saturday. Countryside has knocked, $12,000 off MSRP on the brand new 2019 GMC Acadia all-wheel drive Denali. $12,000 right off the top on this beautiful GMC vehicle. Remember, the end of the month sale ends this Saturday at closing time. Countryside Auto Group, exit 135 off 151 north of Beaver Dam, where savings comes standard.
Countryside GM Auto Group. We make it easy in Beaver Dam.
Here's some great news for homeowners who have electric or hot water heating systems. Summer will be here soon. I bet you remember those really hot, sticky days, don't you? Do you want to suffer through another summer with noisy, clumsy window air conditioners? Or maybe no air conditioning at all? Air Care in Beaver Dam has a solution, and it won't cost you a boatload. In fact, between now and May 31st, you can receive $500 instant savings with the Mitsubishi Electric Spring Promotion on multi-systems. It's your ticket to quiet, efficient, no-hassle air conditioning. If you have an electric or hot water heating system, the really good news is that it can be done in a day or two, and with no ductwork. The Mitsubishi Electric Mini Split System is also a heat pump, so it can provide heat when it's not quite cold enough to turn on the whole heating system. Ask about the Mitsubishi Electric Mini Split System at Air Care in Beaver Dam. Visit them online at aircareinc.com or call them at 920-356-8860. Financing is available.
John Deere Horicon Works is hiring production workers now and is proud to offer a strong new benefits package, including new medical, dental, vision, and prescription coverage for you and your family, a new $1,000 hiring bonus, new 401k and profit sharing programs, and much more. John Deere offers stable, full-time careers where you can be part of a great American brand, building legendary John Deere equipment. We're Deere strong. Are you one of us? Apply online today at johndeere.com/Horicon.
Horicon Bank offers a variety of business loan solutions to meet the needs of your business. No matter how large or small, we can help find the solution that's right for you. We're able to tailor your business loan, even offering custom loan options. Stop by Horicon Bank today or visit horiconbank.com for more details. Horicon Bank, the natural choice for business lending. Member FDIC.
Hop on out to the Easter egg hunt at Slumberland Furniture in Beaver Dam, April 13th. The hunt begins indoors at 11 a.m. Parents are welcome to take photos of their children with the Easter Bunny following the egg hunt. See you at Slumberland in Beaver Dam, April 13th at 11 a.m. for a hoppity good time.
Today is giveaway day from Benvenuto's. Listen for your chance to win a gift certificate. Sunday Fun Day is even better now that Benvenuto's brought it back from 11 to 4 p.m. every Sunday. Come enjoy pan-fried berry flapjack French toast, frittatas, breakfast pizza, breakfast burritos, and their famous slow-roasted prime rib. Brunch wouldn't be brunch without mimosas, and Benvenuto has bottomless mimosas at that, with your choice of juice for only $10. Listen today for your chance to win a gift certificate from Benvenuto's in Beaver Dam.
ARC Dodge County, advocating rights of citizens with disabilities, is announcing 2 scholarships of $1,000 each for an individual entering the field of special education. Applications are open to any high school senior or college student that is a resident of Dodge County and has a grade point of 3.0 or above. Applications are available from high school guidance counselors, and the due date is April 15th. All completed forms should be sent to the ARC Dodge County, P.O. Box 173, Beaver Dam, 53916.
10 minutes after 1 o'clock from AM 1430 WBEV, streaming online at dailydodge.com. Time now for more of today's community comment. Here again is your host, Craig Warmbold.
And our guest is Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Glewen. The phone number, if you've got a question, is 920-885-4446. Happy to take your questions here in the remaining half of the program that we've got left here. I know one of the comments at the, or questions at the, or maybe it was a comment that the caller had in the last segment was about restructuring of the government. There's been a lot of talk about it, both from the perspective of going to a part-time mayor and full-time city administrator. You've talked a little bit about wanting to reduce the size of the city council. So there are a lot of moving pieces when it comes to this idea of restructuring. Seems like right now a lot of discussion.
I think that was off the record when we talked about that. way back when.
Was it really?
No, I don't know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Well, I mean, you've not been the only one that's brought it up.
Well, right.
We got 14 people on the council.
All right.
Some people think it's too big. Some people think it's the perfect amount.
No.
Because you get more voices out there, and it's harder to. I think this was said during the debate to get a smaller group of people to go in on something is a lot easier than a larger group of people.
Well, there's the majority of communities are making that work that are our size, that have 7 to 9 people. It's costly, and it's you have broken our city into so many different segments of socioeconomic. You've divided everyone basically. I just think and basically I think it's just over-representation. But do I want to fight that fight? I don't really think I want to fight that fight. So that's probably, originally that was something, I do feel that is the direction that the city should go. And that has to happen in a census year. I don't know that I really want to, myself, I don't really know that I want to fight that fight. I've had a lot of battles to try to move the community forward. And I think the city administrator is one that absolutely I'm willing to make sure that happens. But the other, the council piece is not what I'm really as willing to do, I guess.
Well, let's talk about the city administrator. The former mayor, Jack Hankus, has weighed in on this, I think, in a few letter exchanges between yourself and the media, and I don't think any of it's come out publicly yet.
Right.
But basically, this is a position that former Mayor Jack Hankus has always had, that we should move toward a city administrator form of government. It seems like there's a few areas where he's trying to gauge where you're at and rectify that with where he's at and everything like that. But where are we at in this process with it? What do you think of the former mayor's thoughts on this idea? Do they align with your thoughts?
Well, let me just say what first of all, the former mayor Hankus believes that John Summers' position and my position as mayor should be one. And then the part-time mayor, which a part-time mayor is someone who's going to take care of running meetings and being knowledgeable about the meetings and being ready for those, right? And then all of the social and being out in the community, talking to people and all of those things, which is about 15 to 20 hours of my week, okay? And I have a 60 to 80 hour week. So now you're talking about 40 to 60, 80 hours additional that would be melded with what John Summers does. And I don't think that's putting us in a competitive light. I just think there are things that I do think that we are still missing that we should be tackling to be competitive and to move a lot of these things forward that we continue to talk about. But that's my take on it. I have spoken with the league about it. I've spoken with our labor attorney about it, who works with multiple other communities, and I've also spoken with the city, what is it called again? The Wisconsin City Managers Association. They are willing to walk us through and help us to this changeover, and I've shared Mayor Hankus's comments with them, and they agree. They agree with me in saying no, that's you don't want to combine those two positions. One is finance, and the other is very different in what I do as well. So I mean, that's one piece. Now smaller communities, 3,000, 5,000, yes, that's what they can do, and they do.
City clerk treasurer type of position.
Right, as well as some city administrator positions, right? I think we have gone as far as, and the world has changed in the last so many years since Mayor Hankus was mayor, and it is extremely competitive. There are many ways that many things again that we should be involved in as far as economic development and making sure that we're seen in the Madison area so that people are considering us when there's opportunities out here. And anyway, I just don't see how you, unless you don't want to take on a lot of what I do, I guess, and that I think would be selling ourselves short.
So just to go back to what you said earlier about John Summers' job and my job. When you said that, John Summers is the director of administration, which is kind of the finance director, plus a lot of other stuff that's been added there over the years. And your job, you don't think that could be one job.
Correct, because the position as it is right now as mayor is the CEO, who's in charge of looking at performance, looking at reviews, doing managing as far as I look at revenues, but I also look at cost management. That's why we looked at how we could change to another health insurance carrier when that came on. That's why we're looking at how we can save costs with energy. That's why we're redoing our copier contracts, and we are grossing over a savings of $117,000 on our copier contracts right now. All of those things, and looking at personnel and how personnel are used and how they're maybe better used and all of those types of things, besides the community development piece, which is broader than the downtown piece. It's, you know, working with groups on prevention. It's the tourism piece. It's meeting with the chamber and being a part of the Business Manufacturing Alliance group and all of those other things.
And then, so just to clarify, that's the community development manager position that you're talking about then?
No, the community development manager position that I'm proposing right now is really a Main Street person. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've talked about that for years and years and trying to get a Main Street person. We have great movement on what is happening as far as business and retail and things that are coming and moving and then happening in our downtown. How do we help them but also help retail? And that's kind of what I talked about. So that's why, while that person would have a lot of focus for downtown, but it'll also encompass the awareness and working with businesses across the community on some of those aspects. How do we, bring events not only to the downtown but tie to other areas of our shopping? Or how do we tie our sports tourism to, once they're here, how do we get them to our areas of shopping? Not just the downtown, but to the Park Village Shopping Center or to the Walmart area. How do you connect all of those things? So that's what that person is. That person is more focused really on a Main Street. That individual, though, that is not, so my vision would be, that is not a position that I think the city should finance forever. It really should be taken through the chamber. Oftentimes those positions are funded through the hotel room sales tax, right? So we have a new hotel coming on. We're hoping that's successful, and we'll have to see what those funds are. But really, a lot of times those funds then go to your chamber, and the chamber can pay for that person. Or there's the business improvement district that's formed, and that's, then the downtown businesses pay for that individual. Or maybe businesses throughout the community. But generally, they have to feel I want them to feel value and get this started so that the city will get it started so that they will feel value in that and want to continue that.
And we got a call here, but just to clarify, going into taking that call, ideally you would have a full-time city administrator, a part-time city development manager, did I say that right, and a part-time mayor.
Right.
That would be the three components
and the
that we'd be talking about.
Community manager
would be paid through
is really more of a
entities.
Downtown, right? Yeah.
Maybe through a bit. So we haven't even really talked about establishing a business.
Right. That would be for
district.
Future.
Okay.
I mean, if that's a consideration,
Sure.
but yeah.
920-885-4446, the phone number if you've got a question. We'll go to the phones and say good afternoon. Welcome to Community Comment. Hi, you're on the air. On AM 1430 WBEV.
If you want to be.
All right, we'll take another kick at the cat at that again, maybe a little bit later. In the meantime, so what was the sticking point with former Mayor Hankis then? He's saying that what is the point of contention here?
The point of contention is that will cost us more money.
A city administrator.
Right.
Well, certainly it would.
Yeah.
Did he have a plan where it wouldn't?
Well, if you combine my 60 to 80 hours a week with John Summers' 40 to 50 is what he wants to do, make it one position, and then you don't.
40, your mayor's position.
Right. The CEO, which would then be, okay, so if we took out the piece that I'm talking about, a part-time mayor would do the 15 to 20 hours a week. Okay? So you're leaving 40 to 60 hours a week. And John Summers' job of 40 to 50 hours a week. combining that.
Right. So I'm sorry, are you planning on hiring a replacement for John Summers
Yes.
and a city administrator?
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
And then
pricey.
the mayor's position drops.
Right.
Yes, in salary.
That's two major full-time, I mean, a finance director
Yep.
essentially and a city administrator.
Mhm.
That's like 200,000.
Right, right.
Easy.
Yep, and that's what most communities do.
Okay.
And Waupun has done and moved to and other
All right.
communities.
You could
Fox
see people's
Lake,
reluctance. Well,
Well-
theirs is part-time. I think their city administrator is part-time in Fox Lake.
Could be, but they took that on at some point
Yeah.
because it was just a mayor before that.
Right.
So, yes.
I mean, you look at the numbers. You're familiar with the budget. Is there room in the budget for that kind of?
I really can't, that's why it's all speculative. That's why I'd rather really not say, and these conversations are so speculative. Right now, I want to get John's position hired. Then we'll have a better idea where we're at and the salary schedule for him. And then after that, you start to look at when, this would happen. And we don't know what the budget will be coming this year. We have to look at, we only have whatever our net new construction is. And I don't know those numbers right now. So I don't know what kind of growth that we can expect to say that we could do.
Right. So you'd be counting on growth as far as
Or,
revenue, additional revenue coming in.
again, savings that we've been able to capture.
Is it possible to hire a city administrator that would be a finance director and keep the position of mayor full time and try to roll some of the downtown Main Street components of that community development manager and then keep those three positions as full time?
So if you've looked at the description for a downtown manager position that I talked about, the job description, the skill sets are totally different. I mean, if you've ever worked with a Main Street program,
Right.
they are not city administrators, and city administrators are not downtown Main Street people.
Well, right, but with the free time that would be taken off the mayor's plate, a focus on economic development, a focus on community development. I mean, is that something that would be?
I'm lost. You lost me a little bit, I think.
So basically, the mayor's responsibilities go
Yeah.
down to 20 hours a week,
Okay.
and you have a finance director and a city administrator,
Yeah.
and then rather than getting a community development manager, I believe it was a
Right.
director,
Right.
you leave that out of the scenario, and the a regular full-time mayor
And the
would just
full-time
absorb
mayor
that.
stays. Well, that probably costs more, but yes, you could do that. It still does cost more because the community development person is part-time without benefits and the mayor's part-time without benefits at that point.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you'd cost more, but
Okay.
you could do it that
So
way.
that scenario may not play out either.
So-
All right. Well, but it should be worth noting that we're not necessarily close. We don't have a specific plan in place.
Right. So right now, it's, like I said, to hire John Summers' replacement. We get to that point, and then we have the Wisconsin City Administrators Association is going to come in and talk to us about that. And then you can ask the questions of them, and they can explain to you why they don't think it's a good idea to combine a lot of those jobs into one. You can talk to them and ask them why does it cost more, why this person would get paid more, those types of things. And that'll help fill in some of that. And then we basically what we change our charter. So the council says, yeah, we agree that whenever this is going to happen, the charter should be moved forward that we're going to hire a city administrator. And then at that point, then we figure out, okay, what is the timing? And then I have to think more on what is the timing of that. And we kind of talked about that and what is my role. And I took this position to move the community forward. So if that means that the timing is right for the city administrator to come on and I go to another position, that's what I'll do because I want to move the community forward, and I think that's the right direction.
How about looking at the clerk's positions and try to combine that with a finance director? Because we're talking about drafting a budget as a primary responsibility here.
Mhm.
Is there room? And clerk, I forget with the recent retirements. We got rid of what, the deputy clerk's position?
So that's an area of our. So that's an area that the finance clerk director that we'll be hiring is absolutely a charge that I have. I think that I just think that we need to look at our and look at most effective use and efficient use of people and how we're doing that in that department. So those are all things that we have to consider and look at. And as retirements happen and such, and what we're doing, I absolutely do think that's what we should
the
be
clerk's role could possibly
it could change,
play a component in
right.
here in some sort of way. Again, a lot of moving pieces, and budget's time still a little bit off. Where are you at the 2020 budget? When does that preparation begin? Is it too early in the year now to start looking at that?
Well, right now we're just really trying to get John's replacement on board, and then that's then we'll start. I'd still like to get that moving sooner, rather, and usually that's in the fall. But or as far as the CIP, we did that in October last year, and that was better than the year before. But actually, it would still be better if we were working on that this summer. But because of John's he's an instrumental part of our team, and with him leaving, we need to make sure the next person's up and running before we start jumping into that. So I just don't know what the timeline is right now on that.
All right. Well, here's our, we just have a few minutes left, our first episode since the calendar turned to spring. What have you got in mind for Beaver? Anything that we need to know about? What are you excited about over the next few months happening?
Well, there's a lot of things occurring. I think one of the nicest things will be that, we've seen some real improvements in our community theater, as well as now a new arts center that is just donated right in that same vicinity, which is really exciting. And so we'll be able to take down the building on the opposite side of the theater, which will be a welcome removal of an eyesore there. And then that's going to be parking. So that's kind of in the process of being developed as far as the planning right now. And so I think that's a great step forward.
Will there be a removal of a Front Street building before the alley is reconstructed back there?
No, I don't think so. I think more of the conversation is geared more toward finding that location to walk through and to do a walkthrough. So that'll be something that's got to go through committees and such yet. But no, I don't see that happening anymore.
That'll free up some money.
Not necessarily.
No?
Depends on, there's quite a bit of cost for someone to incur to, maybe
kind of got that bottom floor as a walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's not as simple as
right.
But that whole district is going to look different come August.
Well, absolutely. You have Uga Brewing opening sometime in May, they thought, and then and there's a new restaurant going across the street, and I have been given permission that I can talk about that a little bit. So,
well, let's make the announcement here officially on Community Comment then. What are we talking about?
Well, I'm not going to say what it is because that's kind of still in development.
Okay.
But the CDI grant is, we're getting notification about that, and so we're just trying to set up a date to make sure that we can announce that. And
positive notification, the WEDC grant, which was
correct.
Similar to what Uga Brewing got. I think they got $250,000 or something like that.
I think 125.
125. Oh, their total project, and then they got half of it, and so there was some leftover funds. And
it was 20%, but okay. Yes.
Is that what it was? I'm
yes.
sorry.
Or 25, about that.
And then, of the total overall cost.
Yeah.
But there was some funds left over from Beaver Dam's cap, and that's why the restaurant applied for the similar loan,
right.
if I'm not mistaken, or similar grant.
Right.
If I'm
In the
not
past,
mistaken.
right, it had only been that a community could apply for one grant. Yeah, right.
But that's the restaurant we're talking about.
Correct.
And this would be on the 200 block of Front Street then?
That is going to be on South Spring as well.
Oh, okay. All right. So there's a new restaurant coming to South Spring.
Yep.
Some of those economic development dollars were used to bring that in. You're not going to tell us what's on the menu yet, though.
I can't do
Sounds
that.
like.
I can't do that. And if you've seen, wonderful activity as far as the gas station that's right there. They just repainted it yesterday, put up a new sign. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. That's a real asset to the downtown now as well in that whole area. There's a lot of activity happening right now at the old Elks Club where they're pulling everything out. I don't know what's going to happen there yet, but a lot of rumors.
Rumors and innuendos here, bringing back the old WBEV segment from the 80s.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so that's there's a lot of good movement and things to come.
Are we ever going to see those wrought iron archways that were part of the renderings that were put together from the study when we saw the YouTube video? Is that part of the plan at all?
Over the
kind
street?
of like over like North Spring and then over that alley that goes to the tower
that
parking
would,
lot?
You know, if that ever happened, you know, this is the thing. I've done a lot of downtown revitalizations, and I've followed communities that have made that happen. And I'm sure you've traveled to communities that have a beautiful downtown and very active. How do you get that? Well, it takes years of work, and so we're going to have to continue working on these things and improvements. But and so 10 years from now, maybe that is a part of the plan, but it's nothing going to be anything near in the future.
What about gardens? Or
unless someone wanted to write me a check.
Planters.
There you go.
It's not going to be me. I write my check right around December every year to the city, so I think that's the only one that we're doing.
There you go.
But as far as planters and stuff, front and center, are we going to see anything there?
Yeah, the benches should be coming out fairly soon, as well as a few extra planters. And
Okay, all right. But as far as that garden, I think that was planned once. That's on hold, essentially?
Right.
Okay, all right. But things are changing all the time.
Yeah.
How do you think the downtown looks? How do you think it's going to look this summer?
Well, it's a work in progress. I definitely can see improvements, and I think, again, we continue to see people, it kind of snowballs, or that's what we hope for, right, is to start these types of catalyst projects, and so we hope to see that continue, and yeah, it's exciting.
All right. I want to thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you, Craig.
We'll look forward to that conversation on the, I think we got you down for the final Friday of the month of April.
Okay.
We'll look forward to it at that time. I want to thank our listeners for joining us on AM 1430 WBEV, and those of us that streamed today's program live at dailydodge.com. If you missed it or want to watch back, you can catch the audio and video at dailydodge.com. That is going to do it for today's Community Comment.
What do Frank Sinatra and Frankie Valli have in common? Besides all the great songs they recorded, they'll be appearing at an Evening to Celebrate tribute show featuring Jerry Armstrong.